As we mentioned then, the fixtures come thick and fast over the next few days for the Premier League. Everton take on Villa. David Moyes' first game, of course, in charge of Everton since rejoining the Goodison Park side. Leicester against Crystal Palace, Newcastle against Wolves on Thursday. Ipswich take on Brighton. Manchester United play host to Southampton for the big game, no doubt about it. North London derby, Arsenal against Spurs. But some news away from that game today. Martin Zubimendi, there are reports that he will be joining Arsenal in the summer, of course, heavily linked, wasn't he, to a move to Liverpool in the summer, a number of other clubs as well, as we welcome in Alex Kirkland. Alex, this is one of those players that people may be excited about because they've heard all the rumours and he's linked to all these different clubs, but not many have seen him play that much. You obviously are very much an exception to that rule. How will he fit in if indeed he does go to Arsenal?
Yeah, he's a fantastic player. And the fact that he's been linked with so many big clubs in the last couple of years, Dan, tells you how highly rated he is. You talk about Liverpool being close last summer, interest from City, from Barcelona, from Madrid. All these big clubs have wanted him, and he's a sensational player. This is Arsenal basically trying to recreate the Real Sociedad midfield of 2020. Because at La Real that year, you had Ødegaard, Marino, and Zubimendi playing together as a midfield three. And we could be seeing that at Arsenal. Now, look, he's a deep line playmaker. He's competing really for a place with Rodri in the Spain national team, but he's a different kind of player to Rodri. Rodri's a bit more athletic, a bit more box-to-box. Zubimendi's more about sort of touch and control and range of passing. He's a really silky player, a player now with a lot of experience. He's 25 years old. He's ready for a big move at La Real, a big club here in Spain, but he's ready to step up, I think, to the next level. And Arsenal would provide the opportunity to do that. Of course, a coach, Mikel Arteta, who clearly knows him well, will have seen him play a lot, both for Spain and for his club as well. And with teammates, like I say, the likes of Ødegaard, the likes of Marino, who know him well as well.
The story was, of course, that he never wanted to leave the Basque Country, though. Arsenal seemed to have persuaded him to do exactly that in the end, Alex. Meanwhile, what a few days for Joan Laporta. Of course, under fire so much for all the finances and everything going on. But he got Dani Olmo across the line. Barcelona, of course, thrashed Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup. And being Joan Laporta, he's being very humble, saying, we've returned to the 1-1 rule, which allows us to sign players normally and register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. But this confirms the strength of FC Barcelona and disproves the apocalyptic, thank you very much, Craig, narrative. Those who tried to destabilize us from outside and also within, Barcelona will have to work much harder to bring us down. Bring it on, Alex. It's like the end of a movie.
Yeah, this wasn't just unapologetic from Laporta. It was combative, really. He wasn't just defending his management at the club. He was, as you heard there, on the attack. This was an almost 2-hour press conference that he gave today. Some prepared remarks followed by questions from journalists. It got quite tense at times with one or two of those journalists talking about, their coverage of this story and the papers or the radio stations they work for. Laporta, as you heard there, talked about enemies, talked about coordinated campaigns to discredit the club. He ran through sort of the saga, the Olmo saga. Most of those things are things that we already knew, the sort of different attempts they made to try and get him registered. The key thing there is that he says they provided the paperwork on time before that famous December 31st deadline, but he says the league then asked basically for additional evidence and proof because of what's happened with Barca in the past. But yeah, this was a very much a I regret nothing sort of presser from Laporta. And like you say, off the back of that big Super Cup win, he's sort of in the mood to celebrate and to really go on the front foot. And I guess yeah, this was very Laporta.
Last thing, Alex, from you. Well, two things. One, where's the hoodie?
The famous blue hoodie. You want it back? I mean, I can bring it back for future editions. It's in the wash at the moment, but I'll give it a wash and then I'll stick it back on next time I'm on.
As Craig said, I can't believe you didn't keep the receipt. Last point, obviously, during that 2-hour press conference, he must have been asked about Araújo and his future, yeah?
Yeah, talked a bit about that. Again, he talked about the way that he claims that some of the comments around this from Araújo and others have been misinterpreted. He talked about Araújo being one of the club's captains, loving the club, having this sort of deep affinity for the club, having been there for a long time. So basically he sort of turned it around and used that as another opportunity to go on the attack, to criticise the media for the way they've talked about this saga. I mean, Araújo, who came on in that Super Cup final, was absolutely brilliant, was really, really good for Barca in defence. He's not a player they'd be looking to sell under normal circumstances, but it's more about the financial situation of the club, the competition for places in defence, the interest from outside. But yeah, he was very much using that, like I say, as yet another opportunity to have a go at the media, basically.